Hi everyone, welcome to the March 2020 edition of Farsight's Time Cross Project. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Courtney Brown, director of the Farsight Institute, and we have an incredible report for you today. The Shroud of Turin. That's right, the Shroud of Turin is a length of linen cloth that is often considered to be a Catholic relic. Now, on the shroud is what appears to be an image of a man who looks remarkably like the biblical interpretation of Jesus after he was crucified. It is kept in the Cathedral of Turin, which is located in northern Italy. Now, the Catholic Church has not formally accepted or rejected any specific view of the shroud or its image, but officially the Church has approved the image to be associated with the public devotion towards Jesus. So, they are not saying it is an image of the actual Jesus, but can be used to remind people of Jesus during the moments of prayer and devotion. In his visit to the Shroud in May 1998, Pope John Paul II said during his public address, and I quote, "With my gaze turned to the Shroud, I would like to extend a cordial greeting to you all, the faithful of the Church of Turin. I greet the pilgrims who have come from every part of the world at the time of this public exposition to look at one of the most unsettling signs of the Redeemer's suffering love." Pope John Paul II also said, and again I quote, "For the believer, what counts above all is that the shroud is a mirror of the gospel. In fact, if we reflect on the sacred linen, we cannot escape the idea that the image it presents has such a profound relationship with what the Gospels tell of Jesus' passion and death, that every sensitive person feels inwardly touched and moved at beholding it." And one last quote. The Pope said, "The shroud shows us Jesus at the moment of his greatest helplessness and reminds us that in the abasement of that death lies the salvation of the whole world. The shroud thus becomes an invitation to face every experience, including that of suffering and extreme helplessness, with the attitude of those who believe that God's merciful love overcomes every poverty, every limitation, every temptation to despair." Okay, so while the Church is not saying that the shroud is definitely the same linen that wrapped Jesus after he was crucified, the implication is clear that there is an association with that idea, and believers are free to connect with their inner sense of Jesus by contemplating on the shroud. Now, there is lots of scientific controversy and curiosity regarding the shroud. Some say it is a medieval creation, maybe even a forgery. There is even considerable controversy regarding the radiocarbon dating of a piece of the shroud that was given for analysis, saying that the piece might have been contaminated. So the obvious question is, what is it? Who was wrapped in the shroud? And if somebody died, exactly how did the person die? That's right, who it was and how and where did it happen? So that is what we have investigated here at Farsight, using the talents of 4 of the most highly trained remote viewers existing on the planet today. And you are going to find out what they found out in just a moment, so hang on tight. But first, let me tell you of a new major mysteries project that we here at Farsight will be releasing on our video streaming site, farsightprime.com, in just 2 weeks, on March 15th, 2020. It is titled, "Human Leadership Has Been Compromised." That is right. You may think that all you have to do is to look to human leadership such as presidents, prime ministers, politicians of all sorts, and religious leaders to do all the heavy lifting for you in terms of guiding the development of human society. Well, you may want to reconsider all that. Now, while the Catholic Church has had a pretty rough time of it in recent years, especially with respect to the sex scandals that have dominated much of the news about the Church in recent years, nonetheless, in its heyday, the Catholic Church was once considered a primary force in shaping human culture in many ways, and in many respects, that is still the case. Well, what we did was to send 4 of the best and most highly trained remote viewers on the planet to take a look inside the heads of 4 different popes. Now, you heard that right. The 4 recent and highly influential popes are the current pope, Pope Francis, and before that, Pope Benedict XVI, and before that, Pope John Paul II, and finally, Pope Paul VI. Now you see, what we were looking for in the heads of those popes is some idea of why they thought the way they thought, always feeling the presence of God, the saints, and the Holy Spirit, and so on. These are 4 strongly charismatic leaders who convinced large populations in the hundreds of millions to follow the leadership of the church. They helped keep the church together, helped it grow, and helped it weather crises of confidence. There are approximately 1.2 billion Catholics worldwide who have looked to the church and its leadership for guidance on how to see the world and how to live life. Well, to our considerable surprise, what we found out is that each of those 4 leaders all have had something, or actually someone, in their heads. And it wasn't God. That's right. Somebody has been messing with the thinking process of some of the most important human leadership on this planet. And you need to see who is doing it and how it is being done. And if the popes are not safe from mental meddling, then no human leaders are safe. This is mental manipulation on a scale not previously imagined, and you are about to see what's really been going on for the first time. Remember, at farsightprime.com, we don't hold back. We are not trying to force people to believe everything we say or do. We just tell it like we find it and invite everyone to voice their own ideas and opinions regarding what we have investigated. We believe that humanity gains the most in an atmosphere devoid of censorship. The new Farsight project, human leadership, has been compromised. Remote viewing data collected under clean and blind conditions. You have to see it to believe it. This could change the way you look at the world. March 15th, 2020, in just 2 weeks, only on farsightprime.com. Now, something new and super important. As you know, Farsight has been using the relatively new methodology of remote viewing to help unravel what we now see as a very complicated and hidden relationship between humanity on Earth and extraterrestrials, who have been deeply involved in influencing human development on this planet for what appears to be a very, very long time, possibly going back millions of years. Now, if we wait for national leaders or the mainstream to lead us out of this confusion of the hidden past, we could end up waiting forever, especially if human leadership is compromised, as I just mentioned. So it is up to us to think our way out of this situation. If humanity is to be rescued, if humans on this planet are to determine their own destiny, then we all need to help define this destiny. We can't rely on anyone else to do it for us. No one is coming to rescue us. That is our job. The first step in all of this is to bring new information about extraterrestrial involvement in the history of human development to light. And that is much of what we have been doing here at Farsight over the years, and we are now going into great depth in our new video streaming site, farsightprime.com, where we have the uncensored ability to tell it like we see it without holding back out of fear of corporate, governmental, or mainstream reaction. Project by project, one step at a time, with a new major project being released each month, we are showing you what we have found out. But the next step is up to you. You see, what everyone needs to do is to openly discuss what kind of relationship humanity should have with the extraterrestrials moving forward. The extraterrestrials are not going to tell us what kind of relationship we should have with them. We need to define that. Extraterrestrial involvement with Earth's human population may have ranged from good to horrific in the past, but what is done is done. What happens next in the future is up to us. It has become clear that the extraterrestrials are not going to stop humanity from defining the type of relationship Earth humans would like to have with the very diverse set of extraterrestrial populations. And human leadership is not going to do that for us, so you have to do it. What I would like to suggest to all of you is that you take the time to comment in the discussion areas below this and other Farsight videos what you would like to see happen in the future regarding humanity's relationship with the extraterrestrials. For example, let me get the ball rolling by saying that we here at Farsight would like to offer 3 elements that we would like to see in that future. The first is the widespread acknowledgement of the existence of the extraterrestrials, and here I am not referring to the governmental acknowledgement of the extraterrestrials. The governments are not going to do squat. I am talking about everyone else. Now, the second element is an open discussion of what kind of future we all want to have with the extraterrestrials moving forward. And since consciousness seems to be such an integral aspect of extraterrestrial thought and even their technology, The third element that would be most helpful would be the widespread acknowledgement of the reality of the remote viewing phenomenon. The extraterrestrials are simply a fact of life. They are there, and they are going to stay there. But what are we going to do about that? Are we going to continue to bury our heads in the sand and pretend that they do not exist? Or are we going to drop the fear of talking about them? Look, bad things may have happened in the past, but we are not benefited by playing the role of the victim. Where do we go from here? How do we determine our own future, our own destiny? The extraterrestrial groups are a very mixed bag, from true supporters of humanity's efforts to determine its own future to other groups who are more self-serving and manipulative. So be it. What do we want to do about it? Do we cry, hunker down in fear, pretend to be impotent victims who can't think our way out of an imprisoned past? Or are we going to grab the bull by the horns and think about what we actually want to happen? It is not Farsight's or anyone else's job to do that for you. You have to do that. But we can help facilitate the discussion. And there you have it. In the discussion areas below our videos, even this video, you can add your thoughts. What do you want to happen? How do you think humanity should interact with the extraterrestrials? What do you want your future to be like and the future of your children? Governmental and religious leaders are not going to do this for you. You need to do it with your own computers and cell phones. You can make the difference. Express yourself. Think these issues through. Your ideas matter. What we here at Farsight are going to do is to watch and listen to that discussion. And then we are going to distill the best ideas and possibly even the consensus of ideas from these discussions regarding humanity's desired future relationship with the extraterrestrials. And with these ideas in place, we will take the next step. You will see. But for now, engage. Speak your mind. Say what you think. Type it out. Share your ideas. The discussion forums are open now below this and all Farsight videos, both here on YouTube and on farsightprime.com. In other news, our remote viewers continue to expand their Instagram offerings where they feature what they do outside of Farsight, including their modeling photos. And they do this for fun. I think you will like it as well. You can find it on Instagram at Farsight Remote Viewing. Check it out. It's fun. Finally, PrinCess Jeaneé continues to teach the Farsight version of remote viewing, and she is scheduling classes for 2020. You can find her on the web at princessviews.net. Now onto the mystery of the Shroud of Turin. After you see the remote viewing sessions, I will return to summarize and interpret the results. The history and origins of the Shroud of Turin is weirder than you have been told. All of the remote viewing for this project was done under blind conditions. There were initial paper sessions, and then the remote viewers continued their work on video. This is a fascinating story with tremendous implications for all of humanity, beginning with PrinCess Jeaneé, then Kahmia Dunson, Melena Hall, and finally Trudy Benjamin. Here is what we found out about the origins of the Shroud of Turin.
Nine 4 8 1 0 0 4 6. My basic thoughts here are land, structures, and subjects. There is a structure on land, mountain or a hill in the background, movement amongst subjects. My immediate focus is on one subject. Male, seems to be white or tan skin maybe, not exactly brown, average male height. His hair is real shaggy like. The main subject seems to be frantic, stressed out, untrusting, or running from something or someone. He's sweating, has a very large nose, bridged nose. Hard breathing, very spastic. He seems to be in trouble or maybe a troublemaker. He's got trouble on the mind. I'm going to do a deep mind probe of the main subject here. He seems to be slouched over, wearing a jacket or overcoat, very tall, lanky, really lanky arms, just a long person. He's not fat, but he's not skinny. Looks very disheveled, distraught, kind of boxed in, not okay. He's mentally not okay. He's all over the place, very anxious, rocking, fidgeting. He's thinking too much. His mind is just, it's racing. I want to move an hour forward to see kind of what's going on here, because I'm not understanding where I am or what I'm seeing. He's all messed up, not together. I really don't like this feeling. Just moving about. I'm going to move around here in time. I don't know where I am, what I'm seeing, what I'm doing. I'm moving an hour forward. And he just seems to be all messed up as I keep going along here. I don't like this feeling. My mind wants to block it out. It's a very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. I keep wanting to shut down. I think this guy is dead. He seems to be shaking like a fish out of water. My arms go numb every time I probe this guy. He seems to have died in a crumpled over, crouched over position, just very limp. Arms underneath him, pain, agony. This really doesn't feel too good to me. This doesn't feel good at all. He's on his face, or his front or his back. He seems to be he's on his face. I don't see any blood though, and that's bothersome because of the pain he's in. I don't understand why I'm not seeing any blood. This is a death event. It seems like he's hanging from down. It seems like he's hanging from a pole of some sort. Pain on his sides. In the beginning, he starts out feeling very cold, and then he's freezing. Now he can't breathe, and he just dies in pain, in agony. People are around him, surrounding him, like a ring, like they're watching him. This is sick. There are two other subjects, one in front and back or side, that are around him in closer proximity than the people within the ring. The primary subject seems to have been hit in some way, shape, or form, like maybe beat up. It just seems very ritualistic, cult-like, creepy, rude, disruptive. This is very disruptive to all of me. This is not. The primary subject is much more. I want to move around again. I want to know I don't know how he got here, the type of person that he is. Moving back, I'm going to go back in a timeline before this event, about 2 weeks maybe. I feel like he's been here for a while. The primary subject has a much more calm appearance. He appears to be part of something very well known. He's not completely crazy here. There, he's completely crazy. He's lost his shit. Can I say that? He's lost his cool. Seems more normal here, but very paranoid. He does not trust people. Like, he's looking over his shoulders. He's very fidgety, like a person with ADHD. Just very paranoid, watch its back. I don't trust, questioning. His mind is always questioning. This is a very disturbing situation. I don't like it. This is what I have. My mind keeps blocking all this out. I don't know how he got there. I don't know why those people are doing whatever they're doing to him, or if he did this to himself. I don't feel like he did this to himself. I think he had a right to be paranoid. I don't like it.
It's 4 in the afternoon. I'm quiet home awaiting you. Fall in love with me, baby. Fall in love.
Today we'll be exploring target 33218543. Okay. My basic gestalts here are land, mountains, and subjects. Okay, I have overall level topography with some irregular topography. And I hear like a lot of loud noises and natural sounds. And it smells like something's burning here, and there are subjects here. And the activity feels like it's like kind of pushing in all different directions. And the subjects are marching, or they seem to be marching in like a straight line. And overall, it feels like very chaotic here, but it feels like all of the activity is controlled, so it feels like it's very, all over the place, but also centered to like a single area. It's kind of like it came from like one place and is moving to another, so it's just moving around the activity here. Okay, I also sense that there is a primary subject here. And I feel a lot of like pressure around me when I stand next to this subject. The energy here also feels kind of like malicious or even dangerous. Either this is a bad subject or something bad is happening to the subject. There are other subjects here with my primary subject. And it just, again, the energy here feels very off. It feels like something is off here. The subjects inside of here are either doing something to my primary subject. I also sense that there are multiple surface structures here, but not like in this area. They feel a little like nearby, distant. And it feels like a city as well. I also feel like my primary subject is a male. But it's like I also hear like another voice talking, like at me, like they're talking to me. So probing this primary subject, and it feels like intrusive thoughts are coming through. It's almost like someone's trying to enter my headspace, and like everything here, this target is like kind of creeping me out. So trying not to be creeped out, but the energy just feels so off, and the fact that I've got this voice like in and around my head talking to me is just very chilling. The activity here feels very like low key as well. It feels like this is like a secret, or it's like something hush hush is going on, and even I'm being like, I'm trying to be like pushed or moved away so that I can't like hear or see anything. That's what I think that voice or whatever is trying to like do to me and like tell me. The primary subject feels alone, but I feel like there's like subjects nearby, but like the primary subject does feel like they're alone, physically, but like mentally, it feels like there's like something else or someone else like in their head. You know, they're definitely connected to something else that I feel like has some sort of control over them, or he's trying to, you know, get something out of this primary subject, and that's why I feel like very unwanted here. The general environment feels very natural. I see foliage here, and I see like the target subject is very like shaped like a bowling pin. So they have like a very slim face, kind of like broad shoulders, but also very like slim. They look like a very slim subject. And it's like this whole time I've got this voice like talking at me, and it's like I probed it to feel it's here, and I feel it, and then something else tells me something else is there. Like I'm being like played with, and like this is a game. Like this, you know, this is a game or something. This isn't funny. I very much so like hear them just telling me, you know, like random things. It's like things that don't even have to do with what's going on here. It's just like they're trying to distract me, and it's working, I feel like. And the surrounding activity here is just very forced and abrupt and heavy and barbaric. I'm going to move to the event that involves the target subject. Okay, I'm inside of a structure, and I hear like loud roars, and the primary target subject feels very distraught, like mentally chaotic. Okay, so I'm inside a structure, and I hear a lot of loud noises, and the primary subject feels very distraught, and I sense an overall like heightened emotions, you know, like they're either like very anxious or very angry. I just feel like their emotions are very like prominent and there, and it's like they can't really hide it. I sense my primary subjects, like their head hurts, and like my heart feels very heavy, you know, like I've witnessed, or like he's witnessed a tragedy, like that pit in your stomach feeling. That's what I have right now. The subject has like a big head and a big nose, and he feels mentally unstable. He does feel like he's not there all the way. He's wearing these thin clothes, and he has pretty fair skin. And he's an older man with like very short hair on top, like a brown grayish color. You know, and again, I can't shake this feeling like he feels like he's like mentally not there. Like, you know, like he's aware, but he's like in his head like crazy, you know, like schizophrenia or something. Like feels paranoid, and he feels distracted, and he feels very just trying to decipher is very mind jumbling. Again, I just feel like, you know, there's my primary subject here, and he feels like he's, you know, capable of causing harm, but he does feel like the victim here. I feel this, you know, pressure on my body, like he's being abused or beaten. He feels like he's on death row, like, you know, like he's capable of causing harm here, but he does not feel like he has caused harm. He feels like the victim here. I kind of feel like bad for him. So there's subjects here as well surrounding my primary subject, and it feels like they're very calm and cold, Like they don't feel like they're necessarily affected or worried about the primary subject. Okay, the primary subject feels very like still and stuck, like he's there against his will, like he cannot, move, like he's tied down or chained or something. And I hear just a lot of things crashing around him. It feels very chaotic. It feels like my main subject is like stuck here, and there's people around that, or subjects around that, are there, but they're not really affected by what he's going through. And then like outside, it sounds like things are crashing and being destroyed and thrown about. A lot of man-made noises. It's like, it's a lot going on here. Now I'm really interested in like, what and who is chit-chatting in my face? So I'm going to move to what is playing with me. Immediately, it feels like everything goes still, like their presence is so strong and negative. I feel like danger, like this is dangerous. This subject feels like it's very like dark and dangerous in a way, like gives me like those like demon, like just full of hatred energy. And it talks like it hates, it talks like it hates me. Like it has like a personal vendetta against me and the subject and most things that aren't it. This subject or this thing feels like it needs control, like it wants like everything, very greedy, very you know what I mean. They feel like I feel they make me feel like they're very just the epitome of evil. Sounds so weird to say, but yeah, the epitome of evil. The primary subject feels like a doll, like a puppet. It really feels like this thing that is talking to me. And it's like telling me, like, no, you're wrong. Like, it's telling me that I'm wrong, but it definitely feels like my primary subject here is a puppet. Like this being controls him. He has him mentally insane to the point where like my primary subject is being controlled. Yeah, it just feels like he's got some sort of control over his mental, over his physical, over his soul. Like, I'm telling you, captive prisoner. That's what the primary target subject feels like. Prisoner to this being that won't shut up. Overall, the energy is just like this thing does not want me here. But now it feels like the energy's changing. Like now it feels like it wants to like invite me in. But I'm not going over there because they creep me out, so I'm gonna stay over here. And now it's kind of like, it's changing again. It went from being like this evil hatred thing to like a very like nice, sweet thing to like a evil, angry thing again. This being feels very childish. It feels like manipulative. It feels like it wants to manipulate me and it can't. And so it's making him angry. And again, I just feel all this hatred and like evil exuding around me again. It's like, oh, it's like hair raising. I feel like the more I try to focus in on on this thing that's playing with me, I feel a lot of pressure like around my head, and it feels like something is like pushing in on my temples and like telling me that I don't see these things and like that this isn't happening. Very manipulative, very manipulative, very manipulative. And yeah, that's all I have here. You know, I feel like really bad for my target subject for some reason. I feel like their soul is like trapped to this evil, manipulative being, and yeah, that's all I have.
Today I will be exploring target 43165842. I have irregular topography, moderate temperature, lots of surface structures, water in the distance. This is an urban area. One structure looks very old but fancy as well. Has an open area. Lots of subjects forming in crowds walking in this area. I'm seeing a line of subjects here standing in front of this crowd. Most of these subjects looks homeless just by their clothing. The subject in front looks dangerous. Feels like a town meeting. Very chaotic crowd. Loud noises and roaring sounds. Just a lot of harsh voices and cheers. I'm also hearing a bell sound. There's a main subject here with tall, dark hair. Seems like he's trying to escape the situation. He feels different, not better than everyone, but he's religious. So he doesn't have that same aggression. This is an old town with religious people. There's another subject. Call him subject 1. Seems like he's standing on something. Nothing unusual, just standing, making sure people notice him. Subject 4 look like they're in their late 40s. It's just standing there. Standing on the surface, he stands alone from the rest. If I go 24 hours later, this subject is in pain. I'm picking up another subject. This subject seems very old and sick. He looks exhausted. This subject also lost his mind. Seems to be everywhere. Subject is suspended above surface. He seems to be on a pole, standing there. In 24 hours, he feels delirious. 48 hours later, possibly dead. I don't feel anything. People are cheering this subject like they're in a circus. But there isn't a circus, it's a punishment that is going on. And people are cheering on the punishment. Subject is badly bruised. 1 week later, subject is dead. Moving to the architect of this whole event. This is the male subject that's running this show. He sings like a ruler or something. Something supernatural. Something supernatural or non-physical about this subject. Has a very snotty personality about him. He is used to everything going his own way. And the subject is definitely in charge.
Today, I will be exploring target coordinates 42564346. Basic gestalts for this target is structures, subjects, and land. There's multiple structures and multiple subjects, and I'm noticing a lot of crowds. There's a big focused gathering of people, male and female subjects in this crowd. There's a difficult situation going on, a difficult conversation I'm hearing. It's a lot of chatter and subjects watching something or focused on something specific. I'm sensing a very serious or difficult situation going on, or a difficult conversation that is being held, or just a situation that is complicated or difficult. I'm also sensing subjects watching something, a crowd of subjects, multiple subjects watching or observing something and focused on something serious. There's a lot of chaos in this crowd of multiple people. I don't know. There's a lot of subjects in one area in front of a big, large structure. This is in an urban environment. I'm noticing a lot of structures around this main structure. The chatter is very loud coming from these people. It's just too many loud sounds. There's a lot of loud sounds coming from this group of focused people in this crowd. It's a lot of hecticness going on, frantic or serious actions. There's a group of people there's a lot of chatter. There's too much chatter going on. There's a group of people that they're also focused on as well. There's a group of people inside of this large structure. They're both male and female. These groups of people are also having a difficult or serious conversation. They're talking or discussing something. There's one particular subject that keeps coming to my forefront. This subject is pale and is very hairy. Feeling lots of hair going. I don't know why I'm thinking of hair. This subject is very hairy. Very humorous or facetious. Nothing about this is funny, but I'm sensing funny emotions or something humorous from this subject. This situation isn't funny, but this subject is weird and is funny or is finding something funny or is very facetious. They have facetious emotions, I should say. I'm going to move to the target event. There's a focused gathering, a crowd of people, or a crowd of subjects, male and female. This crowd of people is inside and outside of a very large structure. I'm sensing very dark rooms. For some reason, I feel nauseous. I don't know why. There's a lot of chatter and talking. Situations where there's a hard conversation. The primary subject is not nice. I'm anxious and I don't feel very good. This primary subject isn't nice. I'm getting the concept of subjects helping people or someone needing help or someone who is hurt. There's way too much chatter going on in this dark room or these dark rooms in this large structure. There's a concept of a murder. I'm going to deep mind probe this murder. Man, the more and more I do this, I get more nauseous. This subject is weird. Very weird. When I say weird, I'm describing him as very facetious. Like, this is a serious situation, but he's internally laughing or finding something about this is just not right and unusual. And as the murderer, he is so calm and still. I feel like something is planned, like something in his mind planned the situation out before it happened, and he's just calm and zen about it. Like, internally, I'm sensing fear. I'm sensing him being scared. No, there's no fear. This dude is happy. This dude is really happy. Like, he's just facetious. This murderer is calm and something about him ain't right. Mentally, he's not okay. He's just like watching people, and I don't know how to describe that. I'm trying to show it, but it's just weird. This is a dark area. He's seated. He's watching, like voyeurism type. I don't know. He's just mentally disturbing. Creepy. That's the word. Creepy. I don't know. Whenever I think of this subject, I want to laugh, but I don't want to laugh at the same time. His thoughts are unorganized. It's negative. His thoughts are very negative. It gives me chills. Like he's had a weird childhood. Oh, like he's had a weird childhood, or he's just mentally disturbed. Psychopathic is a big word, but man, deduct psychopathic. But this subject is unusual. He's ill. I'm sensing death and dying, and someone is dead in this subject. This subject is the murderer, but he is mentally ill and he's dying as well. I am going to deep mind probe the murdered subject. The primary murdered subject is calm. They are seated too. Man, this primary subject is calm. They're seated. They're in the same room as the murderer. They are still. Having a hard time watching this. This primary subject is they don't expect anything. Before their death, there's nothing expected about this situation. The way it goes is painful. The way they are murdered is a very painful thing to watch. But this primary subject is still. He's seated. He is calm. Something about this entire situation seems planned. I keep seeing something structured or planned out, and I'm unaware of how this plan worked, but it seemed like it was timed or planned. I'm going to probe who the planner is or the designer of this situation is. The plan or the designer of this event or the designer of this situation meant for this to all happen in a timely manner. Sensing that subjects were sitting, the primary subject before his death was sitting for about an hour before his death, and the murderer was told specifically what to do. The murderer and the murdered subject are both dead, and I'm sensing that the murderer was psychotically ill. The concept of a brain aneurysm continues to come to my mind. And that is all I have for target coordinates 42564346.
Okay, so what can we say about the Shroud of Turin? Well, to begin with, someone clearly died and was wrapped up in that piece of linen. Second, that someone was clearly not Jesus. Whoever died apparently was suffering from mental problems. He may have even been mentally disabled in our modern definition of that idea. Third, he was killed in a manner that involved the observational participation of a great many people. This was no private slaughter. This was humanity when it was not at its best. But there is another element that I think may be really important to all of this. Some of the data that we have gathered suggests that there may have been someone behind the scenes who may have manipulated the events to some degree, possibly by messing with the mind of the person who was killed. This appears to have been an event that someone did not want us to witness from the inside, so to speak. I can only speculate at this point, wondering if there was an attempt to create an event that would assist in the future manipulation of humanity by affecting the devotion and faith of many followers through the creation of the Shroud. Having us spill the beans, so to speak, would potentially interfere with the effectiveness of this manipulative element. Again, this is only speculation, but some of our data do make me wonder about this. Well, that is it for this month's edition of Time Cross. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you get a chance to watch our upcoming new release, Human Leadership Has Been Compromised, out in only 2 weeks, March 15th. Also, I hope you watch our other releases, including Where We Came From, The Death Traps, Omo Omo and the Bird of Prey, The Secret Apollo Moon Missions, Moses Beyond Exodus, The War in Heaven, and also Tunguska Complexity, Remote Viewing Area 51, the Roswell UFO crash, the investigations into the 9/11 events, the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King, the psychology of Adolf Hitler, and some amazing explorations into UFOs and extraterrestrial life. You can find all of them on farsightprime.com, the place where we show you the deep, deep, and where we connect all the dots. I hope you become one of our monthly subscribers. And as always, all Farsight remote viewing work is done by highly trained remote viewers working solo under blind conditions with no communication between any of the remote viewers. So Farsight projects are nothing short of amazing, and there is nothing like it anywhere else. And remember, when you watch our Mysteries projects, you are helping us at Farsight do our work, including the funding for our Time Cross project, which we offer free to the public, but which costs us a few $1,000s to do each month. So you really help when you follow and watch our activities and research. Without you watching our projects, we would not exist. Finally, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Farsight Press, to keep up with the latest. And please remember to click on the notifications bell that appears after you click on the subscribe button. The notification button by itself does not do much. It is similar to a like on social media. So that notifications bell is the key to being notified when we publish a new project. You can find information about all of our present and past activities on our website. Also on our website, please sign up for our free email newsletter where we announce all of our major projects. To be safe, it is actually best to do both things: to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to sign up for our free email newsletter. Those really are the only ways we can let you know when we post something new. Stay ahead of the curve. Let the mainstream fade in the dust. Be there now.
Is it alright if I stay today?